Hello, welcome back to 80 Days. Last I remember, I was trying to get to, where was it? This place here. So I think I want to head to Istanbul, even though, let's see. I feel like I was told that it's in a terrible state. That's okay. Oh, whoa. Where am I? I'm in Vienna, I think. Okay, I'm in Vienna. What do I have in my inventory? Nothing valuable anywhere, okay. So I'm just trying to get to Istanbul. I can get the train to leave tomorrow for no charge. Here we go. Took a room, settled in, went out to explore a little. Found a cheerful Greek madame who was searching for a dog, which I found lurking under a heap of cloth near a clockmaker's. She remarked that merchants in Astrakhan will pay a huge amount for candles scented of rose from Bucharest. I asked her how she knew. She simply smiled and bid me good luck on my journey. Thanks. Well, I will not be... I got a higher extra space, that's fine. I will be passing through Bucharest, but I will not be getting off this train. Unless it breaks down, like that guy kind of implied that it was going to. Alright, let's take a look, see where I'm going here. I will be in Istanbul. Could try to get to Antalya, Mount Elbrus, Baghdad, Mount Elbrus, Tehran. Those sound great. We boarded the Orient Express at Vienna. It was unusually crowded for this time of year, so I brought Monsieur Fogg, the latest edition of the Times, to afford him a pleasant distraction. Between videos, I have looked up how to pronounce my character's name, so if it comes up, I will be ready, unless I was misled by the internet, but that would never happen. Antalya is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Have I been to Bordeaux? I don't think I have. I wanted to ask if it was a nice spot for a honeymoon. I'll be honest, I've never really understood questions like that, and whether... Give some apples. Whether the answers affect anything. Come on, man, give me some info. Can I get to Thessaloniki? I'm guessing no, because that sounds Greek. Oh my god, this guy is not helpful. Thanks, dude. I got absolutely no information out of you. I retreated to the dining car to keep out of Monsieur Fogg's way. It was empty, but for a mechanical soldier who stood to attention near the door. He had an odd expression. Were he human, I would have sworn it was grief emanating from those enamel eyes. But it must have been a trick of the paint. I leaned closer and waved my hand in greeting. Anything to avoid having to speak French, which I can't do. The automaton repeated my motion silently. They are most curious devices. That's how I feel about calculators. Mr. Fogg, why my dear... Oh, wow. Do I really not remember? Passepartout, I think is how it was. Passepartout. Tell me about Istanbul. Many Istanbulus, probably saying that wrong, disagree with the policies of the Sublime Porte. I'll have to keep that in mind. Incredibly nothing. What do you know? This master of mine. The next day we arrived at Bucharest before noon and without incident. We watched as passengers disembarked. Stuff like that you can sometimes, if you're passing through a town, you can actually get off the train early. I've never done it, but I don't know. Maybe it's good. I respect your choices. A man staggered and fell, but before we could see what was happening, he had pulled away once more. We had pulled away once more. We pulled into the grand concourse of Sirkechi Station on the European side of Istanbul, separated from Asia by the gleaming blue ribbon of the Bosphorus. And here we are in Istanbul. Well, what the heck? They convinced me that the train was going to be a terrible idea and it was totally fine. Alright, well, let's pass the night. I awoke this morning in the silks of an Ottoman harem girl. Worse yet, I was in the forbidden women's apartments of Topkapi Palace. I believe I said that wrong. I think it's like Topkapi or something. Thanks, Assassin's Creed, for vaguely teaching me the name of a thing in Istanbul. No, it came back to me all too clearly. A shuttered, noisy Armenian tavern, many cups of raki, the unexpectedly potent local liquor, a smiling Greek merchant telling me of the incomparable mosaics of the harem of Topkapi Palace, home of the wives and coal-eyed concubines of the punk. Wow, I can't say anything. I don't care what language it is. I just can't handle anything. But men are forbidden in the harem, he warned, on pain of death. He lured me into a wager which I had not the good sense to refuse, cursed my weakness for a fine mosaic. I bartered for a costume, reasoning that I could disguise myself. It would make me less than... I could disguise myself as a repairwoman and stride right through the front doors of the palace. I claimed I had been summoned to see to... Does it make any difference? You know, I'm going to say that Passepartout seems like he might be able to repair a water boiler for tea. Let's find out. Let in with minimal fuss. It seems that even sultans and their wives are servants to the vagaries of plumbing. I was unable to escape in the same way, however. A lady blocked my path, demanding my costume in return for hers. Sure, I did exactly as she told me to. Soon she was the repair woman, while I was a lady the guards did not recognize or care about, and together we walked out through the front door. My new friend thanked me as I thanked her. Then she disappeared into the streets. I found Monsieur Fogg reading a newspaper back at our lodgings. He looked up and blushed a most violent shade of red as he took in my attire, setting his cup down with uncharacteristic force. Wow, that is not like Fogg. I gave him a much abbreviated account of my adventures, but I do not think he really understood. Still, I stammered through my words before we settled in to consider the next course of our journey. Wow, this guy is not too fond of the fact that I did all that stuff. Let's explore, see what we can do. Ooh, here we go. Ooh, that's nice. What a weird response to trains, I'm sorry. I found myself in the historic quarter of Sultanahmet. I'm sure that's wrong. In the shadow of the glorious minarets, I'm sure that's wrong too, of the Blue Mosque. I had some hours before I had to return to Monsieur Fogg, and was finding myself attracting some attention to my flashing silks. See, it's not that I can't say non-English words, it's that I can't speak, because I never do, and I'm always rusty. I made my way to the Grand Bazaar, a covered market holding thousands upon thousands of stalls divided into streets of vendors selling everything from Turkish leather slippers to dried fruits and nuts stacked in precarious pyramids. The vendors call out in every language known to man, and I'd wager some entirely invented. I skirted the edge of it, only to encounter a yet more busy group. I think I characterized Passepartout as being, like, kind of standoffish and prissy last time around. I think I'm already kind of going against that. That's, you know, it is what it is. We are protesting against the Sultan's so-called modernization. Oh yes, I heard about this. A worthy cause. I mean, even if I hadn't heard about this ahead of time, I think it would have been stupid to say, oh, you're protesting. That's kind of a bad choice. Sultan's great. I don't know what your problem is. What are modern institutions without liberty? The time of absolute monarchy is over, sister. Pulled my veil ever more securely around my face as the crowd surged forward, shouting slogans in Arabic and English, and even some well-worn phrases stolen directly from the French Revolution. I felt quite at home and took up the chance as we made our way to the Sublime Porte. I heard that they don't like that so much. As 100 voices shouted the forbidden word, Mashrutiyet. Constitutional monarchy. The Janissaries, loyal palace guards, began shouting and shoving into the crowd. The young medical student cursed and pointed down a side street. I let him lead the way, and soon enough we were, this is probably a bad idea, sitting in a nearby cafe, thronged with young, modern-minded men and women, sipping coffee and discussing politics. Oh, I'm still wearing silks. Sure. Complex negotiation between veil and coffee cup. Istanbul is not safe for those who seek liberty, he told me seriously. I am escaping to Beirut tonight by hot air balloon. Pilot is sympathetic to our cause. You'd be welcome to join us, sister. Oh, that's right. He thinks I'm a woman. That's fine. How long would the journey take? 2 or 3 days, depending on the winds. I promised him I would consider it. I certainly will consider it, but it's taking me somewhere that I don't want to go, so I won't actually consider it for a second. Can I Parts at 4. Alright, I got time to check out the market. What do we got here? Driving goggles. That'll be nice to have. Air sickness pills. Southern Hemisphere. Yeah, I mean, I'm out of Europe. Sure, trade that in. Alright. Let's get those. If you double click, you can get those routes to appear faster. So I'm just gonna be hammering on my mouse button here. Look at that. Pitcairn Island. What a nice place, maybe. Alright. Here we go. The Camertage. Oh man, that is a fancy-ass train. The gigantic iron horse reared from the prow of the Istanbul-Tehran Express, billowing gouts of steam from its nostrils. The Camertage was distinctly Ottoman in design, but where even the most luxurious European trains sacrificed weight for efficiency, it was a matter of some pride that the Camertage's engines used a carefully guarded new Persian design, supposedly capable of achieving a top speed of 75 miles per hour. Truly, we live in an age of wonder unimaginable to our ancestors. Ever since I came into Monsieur Fogg's employ, I had experienced more than my share of marvels, and as the Camertage pulled out of the station, I resolved to savor each and every one. So now my character's all about this adventure. I still don't know if that actually amounts to anything. Greetings. Here we go. Can I get there? Thank you for your help. No idea. This guy sucks. Great. That's a little... Okay. So I was asking him about travel in this area. And he's like, you know what? I think you want to know how to get from Acapulco to Panama City. The first day was short because of our evening departure, so we had just about enough time to secure a compartment, and I don't need to settle my master. Look at his health. Observe my fellow passengers, a thick-set janissary from the Turkish Guard and a striking redhead woman who traveled without a veil. I let them be and rested myself. I'm no pickpocket. Crazy. Check the news. Experimental hovercraft to launch from Yokohama soon. I'll be honest, this Yokohama to Honolulu route is really, really convenient, but it's the same story every time, and I'm gonna have to try to avoid it because I want to get something new. With another long day of foggish calm beckoning, great. I fell into conversation with the thick-built janissary on his way to a new posting. I asked him about his posting, which turned out to be at the Ottoman Embassy in Tehran. We talked a little of his family and the Anatolian girl he hoped to marry. Her father's a coal miner and thinks I am a city boy who will break her heart, he lamented. I reassured him as best I could before we climbed into our berths for a well-earned night's rest. Poor guy. I'll marry you. Let's tend to Mr. Fogg. Monsieur Fogg. The Camertage stopped for 5 hours at the Iranian border while various uninformed inspectors scrutinized our papers and peered into our faces. The janissary fielded the inspectors' questions for us, and we were spared the worst excesses of bureaucracy, for which I was sincerely grateful. I would have thought that Passepartout would like bureaucracy, but I guess he's zestful now. Things change. I stretched my legs by walking the corridors. The Camertage was bristling with uninformed guards, with uniformed guards who grew more unfriendly as I approached the front of the train. Two taciturn fellows blocked the entrance to the engine car, no doubt guarding the secret new designs from prying eyes. I want to try to catch a glimpse, but that seems like a bad idea, so instead I'll see a flash of red outside. The red-haired woman from my compartment was hanging from the side of the train. She looked up at me through wind goggles and lifted an arm to wave, and I saw her hand was covered in a twisting metal gauntlet covered in rubber suction cups much like those on a squid. What is happening here? I've never seen this one before. She determinedly began to sucker her way towards the engine car. I'm not calling a guard. Let her do this. This is great. Impressed by her mad daring, I stumbled back to my compartment in a daze. It was at least an hour before the red-haired adventuress appeared, cheeks ruddy, but otherwise not a hair out of place. "You look flushed, madame," I remarked. "You flatter me," she returned with all the vapidity of a country debutante. We exchanged some small talk, and I discovered her name was Ksenia Petrova Volkova. Ah yes, I tried valiantly to penetrate her laughing facade, but all too soon the Camertage pulled into Tehran station. Unsurprisingly, perhaps, she disappeared by the time I gathered up our bags, but by then I was too entranced by the sights and smells of the ancient city of Tehran, capital of the kingdom of Tehran. Sorry. I feel like every time I pronounce one of these words, I need to apologize to somebody. Oh yes, let's complete that railway. Ooh. Benares, where is that? Sure, why not? Ooh, that seems to be on my way. Okay, yeah, you better believe I'm getting that thing. I don't need this. I'll take this. Harem silks, high heel. Am I passing through there at all? Looks like I passed it already, I think. Oh yeah, okay, so forget that. I don't need those harem silks. Give me that railway cap. Oh yes. Alright, let's explore. Yeah, right, as if I'm going down there. I don't even remember why I was going to that Agra place. Something was going on. Some kind of expedition. To say that the capital of the Persian Empire is modern would be to deny the unparalleled glory of its ancient monuments and palaces. Yet jewel-beaked, copper-bodied birds sang from the branches of trees, while spare workaday iron automata harvested cotton from the fields outside the city. The Qajar Shahs ruled over an empire almost constantly at war, though you would not know it. As I walked the streets, I felt safer than I might along the banks of the Seine. The city is a garden of culture and art protected from the skirmishes along its borders. I sat in the cafes with poets as they dueled each other with words and competed for patronage. Alright, so tomorrow at 8 a.m. the Camertage is departing for Kabul. Alright. Maybe I will find that red-haired girl again. I sought out engineers and found them in the cafes, drinking heavily sweetened coffee and racing their inventions across tabletops. I spoke to the metal forgers. An older woman whose muscular arms bulged under her chador leaned closer. "The other artificers call us mere blacksmiths," she said, waving her burn-spotted hands, "but could they make their wondrous devices if we didn't first hammer out their copper sheets and spin their wires?" "It is fine work," I remarked. "The finest," a middle-aged fellow by the name of Rafik remarked. "In other cultures, a copper lily may be enough for an artificer to complete their education, but we all apprentice to other guilds and craftsmen. To truly make automata, we must be jewelers, architects, shipwrights, cobblers, doctors, dancers." What does dancing have to do with artificing? What if you desire to engineer a mechanical capable of grace? Where better to look than the smooth movements of a dancer's limbs? I swallowed. I think I will look at automata differently now. "We'll make civilized men out of you Europeans yet." Rafik flashed me a grin, taking the sting out of his words, and we clinked our coffee glasses together. Someone further in called out, to the Shahanshah. Shahanshah, I think I said that right. We all raised our cups, and some wag added, "May he live forever under the watchful eye of the Prime Minister," and everyone laughed. That is my abiding memory of Tehran. A place where people could be both right and humane all at the same time, a rare thing in this world of ours. It is a city. I'm sorry, I didn't mean what I said. It is a city, I am sure, that will stand forever. What a nice time. Alright, let's do this. So let's see, where am I going from here? Looks like from there I can just take the train straight to Agra. Agra wandered away. That sounds like probably why I was going there. The Camertage had extended its route and it now ran from Istanbul. I swear, every time I say it, I go route. through the Persian Empire and all the way to the British frontier city of Kabul. I was sorry to be leaving Tehran, a place of true possibility. Still, the Camertage left us in no doubt that we were leaving. Its engines fired, and we rocketed away along the rails. When I worked at Sonic, if anyone ever got a Route 44 drink or a Route 44 drink, I would just, if I was repeating the order back to them, I would just say whatever they had said, because I have no idea. Would you like some more advice on your dress? I actually sold my silks, but sure. Oh, this guy. This little merry prankster. You'd have to ask my secretary. There's neither bank nor market in Allahabad. Sure. Some good information. Oh, I can go from Omaha to Chicago. That'll be useful, maybe. Let's see here. Allahabad. There's neither bank nor market. Quickest way to Benares is through Lahore. Where is that? Oh, from here. Okay. I should be able to get there. One of the Armenian porters nudged his Pashtun friend and muttered something uncomplimentary as he watched me struggle to load our things into the luggage car. I focused upon my task, but they continued to stare at me in discourteous fascination. You look very strange for a servant, said the Armenian fellow, whose name turned out to be Abadjian. I think that's who I just talked to. I looked the man level in the eye. I am perfectly a la mode, I told them in aggrieved tones, pulling my cuff straight. They are all wearing this in Paris this year. They only laughed pityingly in response. Monsieur Abadjian tucked a purple lamb's wool pashmina around my neck. Perhaps this will help, he said, rather hopelessly. I felt like a prize dog, but Monsieur Fogg made no comment, distracted by the whistles and sounds which marked our departure from Tehran. Oh, if I go to Agra, I can assuming I can find Agra. Oh, I'm dapper. How nice. Thank you, the news. I'm glad that you are paying so much attention to my styles. I woke to the gentle rumble of the train and dressed quickly, deciding to wind my scarf around my neck in dashing style. Monsieur Abadjian was entirely correct in his sartorial assessment. The color suited my complexion very well. Monsieur Fogg took one look at me and raised an eyebrow. Very vibrant, he remarked. It was a gift, I said with a smile. You do, he said dryly, have a great facility for making friends. I do believe my master complimented me. Did I catch a wistfulness in his tone? The thought shocked me. Did my cold-blooded master wish himself more gregarious? I could scarcely credit it. It is a skill you could also learn. Oh man, that's cold. I think it was a gift of pity rather than friendship, I replied honestly. Was his only reply before he turned away and fixed his attention upon the passing scenery until the Camertage pulled into Herat, on the border of the Persian Empire and the frontier of British Indian colonial lands. Check that news. Dozens arrested in constitutional riots, Istanbul. That sounds pretty not surprising, considering what was happening there. We had our papers inspected by a Persian customs officer with a pair of magnificent extending spectacles made of polished brass and engraved with Farsi script along the arms. He inspected our documents while turning a small lever behind his ear. A pair of smoked glass lenses slipped over the clear ones, and he inspected our documents once more. You are widely traveled, he remarked. We are traveling around the world, I blurted, and I could nearly hear my master refrain from rolling his eyes. Well, I'm sorry. Maybe do something less interesting then, if you're going to blame me for getting excited. Oh well, it is none of my business, the official remarked philosophically. Your papers are in order. Good luck with your travels. We repeated much the same experience with the British customs official a few hours later, and so we arrived at Kabul thoroughly inspected and officially stamped. Oh yes. Gotta love those stamps. There are no departures today. Are you sure? Oh. Yes. He's sure. Let's check that market. Oh man. Chittagong, where is that? That's nice to have. Why not? I'll take it. Oh man. Let's see. What can we do here? Assuming Chittagong is on the way. Will I be passing through there? If I can, that's a lot of money. Yeah, I'm gonna have to sell something to get some room for that. I'll sell my driving goggles. Move these over here, move this over here. Whoa, hey, hey there. Alright. Let's explore. As we explored the city, we were rather unceremoniously seized by a score of British infantry and marched along the walls of Kabul, up the mountain ridge, into the fortress of Balahisar. Monsieur Fogg protested our treatment, and I joined my voice to his, though my outraged tones rather outmatched his calm ones. We were presented to a small bespectacled gentleman in a palatial office which looked rather more like a court, despite the piles of books and surveyor's equipment littering the floor. He gave us a glance over his spectacle rims. I am Mr. Smythe, second assistant political officer to the British mission here. I do not have the pleasure of your acquaintance. You have a fine office, I remarked. Alas, my friends, I felt no contrition at my rudeness, for we had been ill-handled, and I was entirely out of temper. Mr. Smythe blushed. The Durrani kings built Balahisar as a palace fort. It is a little opulent for its current use. That is beside the point, my master interjected sharply. I am Mr. Phileas Fogg, and this is my valet, Passepartout. I am a subject of Her Majesty and passing through Kabul with no small urgency. Ooh, lying. Didn't see that one coming. Urgency, the political officer's eyes flashed behind his lenses. Pray expand a little upon the nature of this urgency, Mr. Fogg. He had the measure of my cool-eyed master, that much was certain. Monsieur Fogg was not used to being on the other side of the interrogation table, and I watched Monsieur Smythe closely. That was a tough one. As Monsieur Fogg explained his wager and our resultant breakneck trip around the world. I could see Smythe growing, well, I'm going to say astonished. That sounds better. More astonished with each word. Finally, he took off his glasses and tapped them on the table. Were you Russian or Persian spies, he said musingly, you would have a more plausible story. Yeah, fair enough. My master's ongoing willingness to risk life, limb, and valet for a bet seemed to me the height of nonsense. I fear I did not keep my thoughts from my face either, as I saw Monsieur Fogg's cold glance in my direction. Ooh, he's not happy with me lately. Smythe's eyebrow raised in an eerie mirroring of my master's expression, then he cleared his throat. A friend of mine is traveling to Omsk. I'd consider it a great favor if you accompanied her. That is way out of the way. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, what? That is so out of the way. Why would I do that? Oh my god. So if I leave now... Oh man, I'll get to Omsk tomorrow, but... It's a pretty fast trip. It's pretty cheap. But... Oh man, I really want to check out this Agra place. Sorry, man. I'm going to the hotel. With the last light of the evening... Let's get him up to full health. Alright, here we go. Let's check out this mysterious place. Open roads, sweltering heat, uncomfortable conditions, but I got the wind scarf from my dusty road set. Oh man. Sold my goggles. Oh well, what can you do? Whoa. That is fancy. Oh geez, how slow is this gonna be? Oh, it's faster than I was expecting it. There's a thing in this game where you can like look at where other players are. I don't really know what the point of it is. But how nice for these guys. This guy appears to be on his 96th day, I think is what that's saying. I got here in 20 days. Wait, how could he be? That can't be what that means. 96 days, that's ridiculous. The Grand Trunk Road stretching from Afghanistan to Bengal was an ancient trade route. The Marias had once used it to trade with the ancient Greeks. And now the British Empire had repaved and restored it for their own purposes. Mechanical palanquins laden with trade goods jostled alongside troop transports and Trevithick steam carriages imported from England. All were brightly painted, each one bearing an individual's mark. I had no doubt the traders and drivers, and perhaps even their families, had mixed their own sweat with the paint. The day's journey passed quickly, a blur of color and sound, and it was only as the sun dipped below the horizon and the palanquins lit their phosphorescent lamps that I realized we had reached the city of Lahore. Ooh, we are getting there. It was only a short distance from Lahore to Delhi, and we had been promised it was a particularly well-maintained stretch of road. I played whist with Monsieur Fogg, with a pack of cards he had conjured up from somewhere. The mechanicals bearing our palanquin were so steady they barely jostled us at all. Alas, I barely managed to win a single round. Little surprise, given my master's monomania for the game. Wow. What an epic fail. Moving on. We will simply have to practice more, he remarked. Look at that. They spell practice wrong. What an epic fail. An afternoon well spent, though I was not sorry to see the ancient fortified walls of Delhi appear out of the haze of dust ahead of us. We continued on. I was weary of being on the road for so long, despite the remarkable cities and sights we had seen since departing Kabul. Yet when Agra came into view and tossed aside any remembrance of my journey upon the ancient Grand Trunk Road, at first I only saw the white marble magnificence of the Taj Mahal, its towers nearly touching the clouds. Oh, I had heard rumors, of course, but the truth of the vast walking city, oh my god, what? Vast walking city perched high atop its pillar-like mechanical legs left me with only one question. What would it feel like when it walked? I suppressed a shiver as I regarded our marvelous destination. Okay, so when they said it wandered away, the Taj Mahal is literally walking around. Oh my god. Okay. That is really something. Man, I always try to complete all these sets. I don't know if it's worth it. Manila Sing, I'm sure I'll pass. Yeah, sure, why I am. Oh, right, let's buy everything. Let's just buy everything. Okay, so here I am at the Taj Mahal, which is walking around. Please tell me that I am going to ride the Taj Mahal to Calcutta. The perambulatory city of Agra itself was a wonder. The Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan had wished to build a monument to his great love, Mumtaz, and instead of a mere building, had commissioned a roving city. I think we would all do that if we were really in love. Honestly, like, if your boyfriend, husband, whatever, doesn't do that for you, I think that's a deal breaker right there. The vast white granite magnificence of the Taj Mahal perched on the plateau atop its jointed fortified legs. A fitting monument to great love, one that my Frenchman's heart could not disapprove of. Her sovereignty was a contested matter. The British had laid claim to her. That sounds like the British. No offense to my many devoted British viewers who exist about as much as any other viewers of mine, which is to say they don't. She had passed through independent territories on her peregrinations, I'm sure is how that's actually said. I'm not sure. Anyway, her power source was an enduring mystery, one which still befuddled the various European engineers who had made her their life's work. As for me, I was just glad she worked. Her safety record was unimpeachable if one did not count the occasional sleeping farmer crushed beneath her granite-clad foot, and I mean, why would you? That's like whatever. If a farmer gets stepped on by the Taj Mahal and no one's around to hear it, who cares? We boarded Agra at noon. She would begin walking to Calcutta when the sun set, taking us with her on her unvarying circuit. Okay, so I am literally going to get on board the Taj Mahal and ride it to Calcutta. I think that is as good a place as any to stop with this. So, thank you for watching. Next time, I am riding the Taj Mahal. Bye.